Hello, BookTube. This is Weekly Reads. I've had a busy reading week, so let's get going. So I started the reading week this past Saturday with the intention of finishing up uh, Bell Redemption December, which was a reading project I had in December in which I attempted to Bell redeem or read books that I had previously belled on. Um, I had two left, and so my intention was to read one of these two to finish off January. It would be either Gardens of the Moon by Stephen Erikson, book one of the Malazan Book of the Fallen series, long-running epic fantasy series, or The Lesser Bohemians by Eimear McBride, a novel about a drama student who gets involved with an older actor. I started with Gardens of the Moon and bailed roughly where I bailed the first time, which was within the first few chapters. The So there's a thing about epic fantasies and long-running epic fantasies, in that a lot of them have prologues. And sometimes these prologues are ill-advised, and the prologue of Garden of the Moon is very much ill-advised. There's a character who is later revealed to be a 12-year-old boy who wants to be a soldier, who's your standard hero figure, but he knows things that he should not know, and it's just no. So I bailed on it again, and I'm going to be sending all of the Malazan Book of the Fallen books that I have off somewhere, whether it's donating to the library or trying to get store credit somewhere, I don't know, but they're going. I'm done with them. And then I had another go at The Lesser Bohemians, and while I did get a little bit further this time than last time, that's not saying much. The Lesser Bohemians is written in a very stream of conscious, fragmentary style that I don't get on with at all. I don't think it's very good. So I'm likely going to get rid of this one too at some point. When? I don't know. Because I actually need to figure out if PALS would take UK copies, because I got this from Book Depository. But anyway, that can't get tossed with Gardens of the Moon because they go in separate spots. So, now with a double bail, one would think my Saturday would stink. But that would be incorrect. I actually did have a bail redemption Saturday, and that was with More Than This by David Kirby. In December, I picked up 4 collections of poetry from LSU during their sale at the end of November and early December. And of the 4, I read, or I had to go at More Than This at the end. This was the last of the 4. And I decided to set it aside. And on Saturday, I came back to it and read it, and I liked it. Although I think a lot of the poems probably go on a little too long, and I think Kirby loses the thread at a lot of points. And I think it's the weakest of the 4, but it was okay. So I'm quite happy that I managed that. But eclipsing everything on Saturday was Volume 20 of Eden Zero by Hiro Mashima. Eden Zero is Hiro Mashima's current work. It's the story of a young man named Shiki Grambel, who is the adopted son or grandson of Ziggy, the demon king android of a tourist planet populated by androids. The androids are beginning to break down because there's nobody there to maintain them. And before Shiki is left all alone, a young woman named Rebecca and her exceed companion Happy come to the planet to film videos for B-Cube. The androids malfunction or seem to and threaten to kill Rebecca and Happy. Shiki rescues them and the trio flee the planet. And Shiki joins Rebecca's guild of adventurers, and the trio decide to go search for Mother, the great cosmic goddess figure. To do this, they eventually gain a ship that was willed to Shiki by Ziggy called Eden Zero. And gradually, Shiki, Rebecca, and Happy begin to gather a crew. Initially, Weiss, a past version of Rebecca's adoptive father figure, and Pino, a small little android, and then later Homura, a samurai searching for her adoptive mother, who is one of the 4 shining stars of the Eden Zero, a quartet of androids that maintain aspects of the ship. Homura's adoptive mother, Valkyrie, controlled the offensive capabilities of the ship. The other 3 are Witch, who basically was the defensive capabilities of the ship as well as the ship itself. Sister, who controlled the infirmary, and Hermit, who acted as the CPU. And later, former enemies joined the crew, Jen and his sister Clean, as well as a rebel actor named Laguna. And also Couchpo, another beekeeper who the crew rescues from a planet. So gradually, the crew discover that Ziggy isn't dead, and that he's been resurrected, and that he's taken on a android supremacist agenda. In order to stop him, the crew sort of follows him into the Area Cosmos, where they get involved in the Area War arc, which is the arc that basically finished off with Volume 19. Volume 20 is a breather arc, or a breather volume. It wraps up the AoE War arc and leads into the next big arc, the Lindard arc, which I'm really looking forward to. And I really enjoyed this volume. It touched all of the bases. There were moments of sort of sadness and sort of coming to terms with the heaviness that happened in Volume 19. There's this wonderful opening image here. And there's another one. It's a glorious double-page spread here. And the next page, just lovely. And it's just wonderful how the crew kind of comes together, their determination to fight and stop Ziggy, kind of what happened 3 years later, the character's growth, pretty much the coming war. It's wonderful. I love this volume, and I can't wait for Volume 21 and all the other volumes I've pre-ordered already. So this was great. This was certainly the highlight of the weekend. You go over here. So on Sunday, I read all of Peter Campion. He's a poet who I've been slowly collecting his collections over the past few years. I just recently picked up his 3rd collection. So I decided to reread all of his work while reading El Dorado for the first time. So I started with his first collection, Other People. which I rather liked. And then I moved on to the Lions, which remains my favorite collection of his, and is also the first one I picked up. And then I read El Dorado, which is his third collection, and also the one that I picked up last month. This one is really good as well. Definitely a lot of really good poems. And I finished off with One Summer Evening at the Falls, Peter Campion's most recent work, which came out about 2 years ago now. And this one, while I had my issues with it the first 2 times I read it last year, this reading definitely improved the collection in my estimation, so quite enjoyed it. And then on Monday, I was feeling a bit morose, so I just browsed my cookbooks. And then on Tuesday, I decided to read some more manga. And so I read volume 16 and 17 of The Seven Deadly Sins by Nakaba Suzuki. This is volume 16, and this is volume 17. So The Seven Deadly Sins is a manga series set in the land of Britannia, which is inspired by medieval Arthurian legends, and more specifically, the Kingdom of Leonis. Elizabeth is a princess of Leonis. Her father, the king, has been overthrown by an order of superhuman knights called the Holy Knights, who are tyrannical and preparing for a holy war. To stop the Holy Knights, Elizabeth goes in search of the Seven Deadly Sins, a rival order of knighthood who 10 years previously had been accused of assassinating the chief Holy Knight as well as trying to overthrow the kingdom. Elizabeth finds Melodius, the leader of the Seven Deadly Sins, and together they go in search of the other 6. To this point, they found 5 of them. The group eventually do defeat the Holy Knights and restore the king to his throne. By that point, the Seven Deadly Sins, or 6, split up. A group of them, Ban, King, along with Jericho, a former Holy Knight, go to the Fairy King's forest. Melodius, Merlin, Diane, and Gowther, along with Elizabeth and Slater, a Holy Knight, go to Camelot with Arthur, where they are attacked by demons. So the Chief Holy Knight's plan, there were 2, were to free the demon race. There are a number of races in the setting, of which the demons are the most malevolent and had been sold away for millennia. While one of the Chief Holy Knights, the putative main antagonist of the first part of the series, was to just release all of them, the other Chief Holy Knight's plan was to just release a select elite force of them, the 10 Commandments, who are now acting as the main antagonists of this part of the series. In volume 15, one of them attacked Camelot and defeated the characters who were there. Volume 16 follows on that attack with the characters recovering and going into training. But Gowther, being the little shit that he is, wiped Diane's memory, so she's gone off to find the giants, and the others are trying to still recover from what happened and to go after Diane. Meanwhile, 3 of the Holy Knights, Guilt Thunder, Hauser, and Griamore, are going on their own adventure where they encounter a restored Dreyfus. And so they kind of fight demons there, and then they all gather to train and get more power. including Melodius gaining the powers that he's lost and giving a whole demolishing the demon that beat him in the 6th and 15th. So anyway, I can't say I particularly cared for volume 16 all that much. I like 17 better, but my enjoyment of the series has kind of started to plateau, if not maybe decline a bit, after these 2 volumes. I still have volume 18, and I do want to pick up a few more later. So, with February 1st, I started my February readings, which began with Pharaohs of the Sun by Guy De La Bedoyere. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering his name. This is a history of the 18th dynasty, the dynasty that reunited Egypt after the Hyksos occupation of the Delta. So far, I'm liking it. It's really engrossing. I'm still working on it though, and I'm sorry. I will finish it on Saturday. I don't have much to go. In fact, while I'm uploading this video, I will be finishing the chapter I'm currently reading. So I'm liking it quite a bit so far. The only issues I'm having are that the first chapter is rough and just not very good. It's very off-putting. Even as some of the information is quite interesting, it's especially kind of highlighting De La Bedoyere's struggles with researching his subject. He is, by profession, a Roman historian specializing in Roman Britain. So the 18th dynasty is very much a departure for him. And then throughout the book, it's peppered with Marxist-infused sort of historical criticism, I guess is the best way you can say it, that doesn't really, I mean, he never really sustains that critique. It's just asides here and there that disrupt the narrative without ever really doing a deep dive into showing the assertions. So I don't quite know what I make of that. I do find that disruptive, but I don't know if there's a greater purpose to it. I mean, the UK version highlights it, although whether or not although he doesn't really sustain. But anyway, so I'm still working on it, and I will finish it tomorrow, and we'll report back on next Friday, and also probably be working on a review for Open Letters Review. So look forward to that in the not too distant future. So once I finish Pharaohs of the Sun, I will start on the second big work of history I plan to read, A Distant Mirror by Barbara Tuchman. This is a history of the 14th century, primarily focusing on France and Britain. I've been meaning to read this book for a very long time, and Steve Donahue, as part of his STD, his Steve Tiberius Donahue Book Club, is starting with this. So I'll be reading this and kind of following along with some of the videos once I've finished. So that's the plan there. And after I finish A Distant Mirror, I will be starting my 12 TBR for February, which is, in this case, since there's a February Fantasy Stories, FFS, I'm pretty much reading all fantasy, or two of the. So, of my 12 TBR, I'm kind of doubling up on them. And so there's 6 fantasies and 6 literary fictions. So this month I'm going to do a double fantasy. So the first fantasy I'll be doing is The Forgetting Moon by Brian Lee Durfee. This is the first book in the Five Warrior Angels trilogy, and I've been meaning to get to this book in for a while, and hopefully I have success. But if I don't, it's okay. So we shall see. So yeah, that's my plan for this coming reading week. Next week, I will also be continuing my library tour. I'll be focusing on the classics, canonical, modern, and contemporary fiction, poetry, drama, and trying to get caught up on some book tags that I missed this week, and maybe do a few other videos. Also, I have an original tag video that will be going up on Monday as well, in part to celebrate 800 videos, which this is my 800th video. So, yeah. So anyway, I need to get back to Pharaohs of the Sun. So until I see you next Monday, thank you, BookTube. Have a great evening and weekend, and stay safe.